Welcome back to the third revision lecture, third day of our topic, that is the quadrilateral. I hope that you have enjoyed your first Hindi lecture. Miss has explained very nicely how to write the composition. You know, students, in writing the composition, you have to apply your thinking skill. Means whatever the topic is given, you have to think over it and then put it on the paper. Okay. So I hope that now you're ready with your maths textbook, notebook, and your writing pen. Now in maths, apart from the thinking, you should understand. That is, uh, you should have the understanding skill as well. Okay, so you have to think, understand, and apply your knowledge for solving the sums. Okay, that is whatever topic you are studying, that you have to understand it carefully, and over that you have to think it how you can apply that particular topic or that particular concept in solving any type of the sum related to that topic. Okay, so that's what we have done in the previous two lectures. Whatever we have come across the topic subtopics, we have understood it, and the same thing we had applied in solving the sums. Okay, so let us start with the third day of our revision lecture. So before starting with the actual topic that I'm going to start today, let us revise or let us see what we have done in the previous two lectures, because some students might have missed the lecture, so they can just have a quick recap and understand it, because in maths each and every topic each and every topic, it is connected, it is correlated to the next topic. Unless and until you understand the basic or the very basic thing or first topic, you will not able to understand the topic which is next to that. So as I told you that this is our third day of the revision of topic quadrilateral maths 2. So let's have a quick recap, or if you have missed any of the point, you can note down, because all this point you will not get in your textbook. In the very first beginning, in the very first day of our revision lecture, we have seen the basic definition of the quadrilateral. Okay, I do explain the meaning of the quadrilateral, then what are the types of the quadrilateral, because all these types we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, so quadrilateral is nothing but any four-sided closed geometrical figure. Okay, any four-sided closed geometrical figure is called a quadrilateral. And you can see over here the types of the quadrilateral. The first one is parallelogram, second rectangle, third square, fourth rhombus, and the last one is the trapezium. Now in this particular lesson, the quadrilateral is basically, it is divided into two major parts. That is, the first part is the parallelogram, and second topic is trapezium. So under parallelogram, we are going to study rectangle, square, and rhombus. Under parallelogram, we are going to study rectangle, square, and rhombus. What are their properties and how they are useful in solving the sum or in proving any type of property or the question. Okay. Now the first major topic of this chapter, that is the parallelogram. In that we have studied the properties of the parallelogram. As you know that parallelogram is nothing but it is also a four-sided closed geometrical figure in which opposite sides are parallel. Pair of opposite sides are parallel. Means both the pair of a quadrilateral are parallel, then we can say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Because word itself parallelogram means what? Pair of opposite sides should be parallel. And once they are parallel, they need to be congruent. Okay. So let's see what were the properties that we have studied of the parallelogram. First one is adjacent angle of a parallelogram are supplementary. First one is adjacent angle of a parallelogram are supplementary. Students, before starting with this parallelogram, I have also explained you what are the adjacent angle, what are the opposite side, opposite angles, then what is diagonal, all this basic thing also I have explained. So adjacent angle of a parallelogram are supplementary. Supplementary means what? 180 degree. So the measure of the two adjacent angle in a parallelogram is what? Supplementary. Okay. The second property is that opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. As I told you that pair of opposite sides in a quadrilateral, if it is a parallel, then we say that the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So here, if the pair of opposite sides are parallel, then they has to be congruent. So here the second property holds that opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Now the third one, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Okay, the opposite angles in any parallelogram, any type of parallelogram are congruent. Fourth one and the last one that we have studied is the diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other. Diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other. Okay, they bisect each other means what? When the two diagonals, if we draw, they intersect at one point, and the distance from the vertex to the intersection point will be same as to the another vertex to the intersection point of the diagonal. So these are the four properties of a parallelogram. Apart from these properties, we have also studied the test for the parallel lines. Now this test for the parallel lines, they are used or they are applied in test for the parallelogram. Okay, so before going to the test for the parallelogram, I have explained the test for the parallel lines. So the first one was the corresponding angle test. The first test for the parallel lines that I have explained, that is test corresponding angle test. So what was that? If two lines are intersected by a transversal and a pair of corresponding angle are congruent, then those two lines are parallel to each other. That means we cannot say these two lines are parallel unless and until the corresponding angle formed by the two lines intersected by a transversal. If these two corresponding angles are congruent, only we can say that the two lines are parallel. Okay, only then we can say that the two given lines are parallel. That was the first test. Second test we have come across, that is the alternate angle test. I told you that the alternate angle, they form Z shape. Okay, they form what? Z shape. So if two lines are intersected by a transversal and a pair of alternate angles are congruent. So as we have seen that corresponding angles are congruent, at same way alternate, if the pair of alternate angle are also congruent, then only we can say that the given two lines, they are parallel to each other. Okay, so this is a condition, students. Any time or any two lines cannot be parallel unless and until this tests are satisfied or this tests are fulfilled. Okay, if I draw any two lines, I can't say that the two lines will be parallel. Okay, so to check whether the two lines are parallel or not, we have to check the angles formed between the parallel lines, that is the corresponding angles are congruent or no, then the alternate angles are congruent or no, and then the interior angle. Okay, so this was the second test for the parallel lines. The third test that we have studied is the interior angle test. Students, as you know that the corresponding angle and alternate angles, they have to be or they should be congruent. Okay, they should be congruent. Only then the lines which have drawn will be parallel. Okay, but in case of the interior angle, the interior angle should be supplementary. Should be what? Supplementary. Okay. So here the third test, that is the if two lines are intersected by a transversal and a pair of interior angle are supplementary. Now this is only the difference. This is only the difference that the pair of interior angle should be what? Supplementary. Means what? The measure of this A, that is angle A, and angle B should be what? 180 degree. Okay, should be 180 degree. Only then we can say that the given two lines are parallel to each other. So if in your exam, if the question comes, show that the two lines are parallel, show that the line L is parallel to line M. Okay, if you want to prove this, then you can use any of these three tests for the parallel line. Either the corresponding angle, either the alternate angle, or the interior angle. Okay, using any of this three tests, you can show that the given lines are parallel. One thing you have to remember, students, the angle, corresponding angle, alternate angle, or the interior angle will be formed only and only if transversal is intersected by the two given lines. If I'll draw, for example, if I'll draw only two lines, now in these two lines, where you can see the corresponding angle, alternate angle, or interior angle, you will not able to identify, or no angle will be formed. Okay, no angle will be formed unless and until if there is transversal. Unless and until if there is a transversal. Okay, so transversal, it is also important to form corresponding angle, alternate angle, or the interior angle. Okay, so as I told you that if you have to show any two lines, you want to show that these two lines are parallel. Okay, then first condition is what? There should be a transversal, and the second condition is that using any of the three tests, that is the corresponding angle, alternate angle, or the interior angle, you can show that the two lines are parallel. Okay, so these three tests are also helpful if the question comes, prove that lines are parallel. Now, the next we have studied is the test for the parallelogram. as you know that if you want to prove any lines are parallel, any two lines, any three lines are parallel, you need to use the test for the parallel line. At the same time, if you want to prove any sorry any quadrilateral or parallelogram, okay, any quadrilateral or parallelogram, you need to understand what are the tests for the parallelogram. Okay, you need to understand what are the tests for the parallelogram. And in the previous lecture, we have seen the examples also, how it works or how we can apply the test for the parallelogram. Okay, so let's see quickly. The first test for the parallelogram, that is, if the opposite angle of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. That means if the opposite angles are congruent, if you are able to show that the opposite angle in any quadrilateral is congruent, then that particular quadrilateral will be a parallelogram. Okay. Now see students, again and again, why I'm repeating this, because these are very important and these are very basic things. Okay. If you understand, as I told you in the beginning itself, understanding and the application part is more important in the maths. Okay. So if you understand, you can think over it. Okay. And you can apply it. Okay, so understanding, thinking, and an application. All three should connected or all three should be used or correlated to each other. Okay, so this is the first test for a parallelogram. Now the second is what? If the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, so as opposite angles are congruent. So if opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So if you are able to show that the side AB is congruent to side CD and side AD is congruent to side BC, then that particular quadrilateral will be a parallelogram. Okay. On this, we have seen the example of square. Okay, the example of a square or even a rectangle. In a square, all the sides are equal. Okay, so here, if you want to prove that any square is a parallelogram, you can apply this test. Okay, at the same time, in a rectangle also, opposite pair, that is the pair of opposite angles are congruent. So there also you can apply this test and you can prove it. Okay. Third, that is, if the diagonal of a quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Now here I have explained you what is the meaning of the bisect each other. Because whenever you draw the two lines, they will intersect. Okay, in the previous lecture, I have clarified the difference between the intersection and the bisection. Okay, when you draw a two lines, now here I have drawn the two diagonals, that is the diagonal PR and SQ. They will intersect at point M. Okay, they will intersect at point M. But here, what is the property says that if the diagonal of a quadrilateral bisect each other. Now, bisection means what? This segment SM should be equal to QM. Okay, that is the meaning of the bisection. That is another way you can say that the midpoint, that is the M is the midpoint of SQ and M is the midpoint of PR. That way also you can remember. That is the meaning of the bisect each other. Okay, so if the diagonal of a quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. Now the fourth and the last one, if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are parallel and congruent. Okay, if the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are parallel and at the same time they are congruent, then we can say that the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Now this particular property, it holds in the rectangle. It holds in the rectangle because in rectangle, opposite sides are parallel At the same time, opposite sides are congruent. Okay, so any rectangle can be said as a parallelogram. Okay, so if you know all this test for the parallelogram, they may ask in a multiple choice question, true or false. Okay, 1 mark question. So if you are thorough with this particular test for the parallelogram and understand it, you can able to answer the question. Okay, now up till this we have completed in the last two revision lecture. Okay, now the next, as I told you that after parallelogram in the types, it is rectangle, rhombus and square. Okay, now all this rectangle, rhombus, square, they are also a type of a parallelogram. They are also a type of a parallelogram. Okay, so as I told you in the beginning itself, that quadrilateral, this particular chapter, it is divided into two major parts. That is, the first part is the parallelogram and the second part is the trapezium. I have not highlighted the word trapezium because this we have not yet started. Okay, whatever we have completed, that is the parallelogram part, we have completed till now. Okay, and today we are going to study these three topics. Okay, today we are going to study these three topics, and that's why I have not highlighted this second subtopic of the quadrilateral, that is the trapezium. Okay, so in parallelogram, today we are going to study with the rectangle, rhombus and square. Now students, you all of you are aware of the rectangle, square, rhombus right from your previous classes, previous standard. Okay, these are very simple and the basic thing you have learned in your previous standard. But actually, you know that all the topics in a math, they are connected to each other. Okay, so whatever you know that the rectangle, all the angles are 90 degrees. Okay, that is the basic thing. But how that property, how that uh, property of rectangle or a square, all of you know that all the sides are congruent or all the sides are equal. So this property you have studied, I know, but how you are going to apply while solving the sums or while proving any type of question which is asked in the exam. Okay, so let's start the property. I want you all to note down the properties of rectangle, rhombus and square, whichever I will be presenting here on the screen. Now, parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus and square. See, rectangle, rhombus and square, all these three quadrilateral can be said to be a parallelogram. Okay, why? Because parallelogram, the basic definition is what? What is the basic definition? That pair of opposite sides should be parallel. Okay, so here in rectangle you can see the pair of opposite sides is parallel. So this particular rectangle or any rectangle is a parallelogram. Okay, second is the rhombus. So in rhombus also you know that all the sides are of equal length. All the sides are of equal length. So we can say that the opposite sides, pair of opposite sides, they are parallel. At the same time, they are congruent. So again, this is a parallelogram. Okay. Then the third is a square. You are very much familiar, and all of you, even the small children, know the square or the shape of the square. That is all the four sides are of equal, that is all the four sides are congruent. Okay, and all the angles are also congruent. Same case holds in the rectangle also, all the angles are also congruent, but not in the case of the rhombus, not in the case of the rhombus. So one by one we will see what are the properties of this three parallelograms. Okay. Now let us see the first one, that is the rectangle. Now rectangle, what will be the basic definition? That is a quadrilateral is a rectangle. When can you say that a particular quadrilateral is a rectangle? Yes, if all of its angles are right angle. Okay, I can't say that in a rectangle all the sides are equal. Okay, here you know that in a rectangle all the angles are 90-degree, that is they are equal, they are congruent. Okay, but all the sides we cannot say that they are equal. Okay, so you can say a particular quadrilateral is a rectangle if and only if all of its angles are right angles. Okay, so what the properties holds for this particular any kind of a rectangle is what? Opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. Obvious it is that all angles are right angle. So opposite sides are what? Congruent. Okay. Second property is what? All angles of a rectangle are congruent. Why? Because all the angles are 90 degrees. So all the angles of a rectangle are congruent. Third property is what? Diagonals of a rectangle are congruent and they bisect each other. Okay, and they bisect each other. Okay, I already explained you what is the meaning of the bisect each other. So all these properties hold for a rectangle. Okay, all these three properties hold for a rectangle. Now here you can see the diagram. I have taken the diagram which I have solved the example. Okay, so in this diagram you can see that the quadrilateral APCQ. If you remember students, on Saturday we have solved the example of this particular diagram. We have shown that this quadrilateral APCQ is a rectangle. Okay, so here you can see that all the angles are 90-degree. Okay, that is they are congruent. Then opposite sides, that is the AQ and PC, they are congruent. At the same time, AP and QC, they are also congruent. Okay, they are parallel. That's why rectangle, it is also called as what? Parallelogram. Okay, so this opposite sides are parallel. At the same time, opposite sides are congruent. Okay. Now let's go to the second type of the parallelogram, that is a rhombus. Okay. Now a quadrilateral is a rhombus if all of its sides are congruent. Okay, if all of its sides are congruent. Now here, when can you say that the quadrilateral is a rhombus? I told you that in a quadrilateral, if all the sides are equal, they are of equal length, you can say that the particular parallelogram is a rhombus. Okay, now here there are properties that the all sides of a rhombus are congruent. Okay, all the four sides of a rhombus are congruent. Opposite angles of a rhombus are congruent. Okay, in a rhombus, opposite angles are what? Congruent. Diagonal of a rhombus are perpendicular bisector of each other. They are perpendicular bisector of each other. Now students, here the diagram is not proper of the rhombus. Okay, I'll just explain you the third property. What is the meaning of the perpendicular bisector? Okay, now here this is a particular proper rhombus, you can say. See students, rhombus and square both are same. Okay, but it is like how you stand straight is a square. Okay, how you stand straight is a square. If you bend little bit, If you bend little bit, it becomes a rhombus. Okay, so that is only the slight difference. Okay, so diagonal of a rhombus, they are perpendicular bisector of each other. Now I explain you how the diagonals they bisect each other. They bisect each other means what? Particular point of intersection will be the midpoint of that particular diagonal. Okay. Now here the word comes the perpendicular bisect. Now perpendicular means what, students? Perpendicular means what? 90 degree. Okay. Perpendicular means what? 90 degree. So when two diagonal of a rhombus they bisect each other, they bisect each other, they form 90 degree. Okay, they form 90 degree. Means wherever the point of intersection, here you can see here the angle which is formed is how much? 90 degree. And this is only in case of a rhombus. This is only in case of a rhombus, that when two diagonals they bisect each other, they bisect each other, then they form 90 degree at the center. Okay, here also the bisection property holds. Okay, because this length will be equal to this length. Okay, same way this length will be equal to the this length, but the additional property or the additional thing is that they form a 90 degree at the center only and only if the diagonal they bisect each other. Okay, so this is a different property or the different thing that is pulled only for the rhombus. Okay, so all these properties, all the three properties. Now we'll go to the square. Now, as I told you that square, all of you are very much familiar right from your childhood. That yeah, if you tell any small child what is the shape of this quadrilateral or what is the shape of this figure, he or she can easily identify whether it is a square or not. Okay. So the definition is that a quadrilateral is a square if all of its sides are equal and all of its angles are right angle. Okay. So any quadrilateral, any four-sided geometrical figure, you can say that a square, this is a particular square only and only if all the sides are equal in length. At the same time, they are right angles. Okay. So here the don't need to find side or the angle, all the angles of a quadrilateral, because all the angles are what? 90 degree. And if you know the measure of one side, you are able to find the measure of the remaining three sides of a square. Why? Because all the sides of a square are of equal length. Okay, so the property holds the same thing. All the sides of a square are congruent. Okay, they are of equal length. Then all the angles, all the angles of a square are congruent. That is, each angle is 90 degree. Okay, each angle is 90 degree. So here all the angles in a square, they are what? 90 degree. Then the third one, diagonal of a square are congruent. Now, if the sides are congruent, then diagonal it has to be congruent. Okay, this is uh, understandable by all. That is, if the sides are, if all the sides are same. Okay, if all the four sides are same, then the distance between the two diagonal, okay, the distance between the diagonal will also be same. That is, the diagonal of a square are congruent and they are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay, now perpendicular bisector means what? They form a 90 degree at the center. That is this. If you see AOD, you can see the first triangle. Okay, so perpendicular bisector means what? This triangle. This triangle is a 90 degree triangle. Same way, triangle DOC. This is also 90 degree. Okay. Then BOC. This is also 90 degree. and AOB. This is also 90 degrees. This what? Diagonals of a square are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay. And again, that if all the four sides are congruent, then the length of the diagonal will also be congruent. Okay. So this is the definition and the properties of a square. Now, let's see how these properties are helpful for solving the sums. Okay. First question. Adjacent sides of a rectangle are of length 7 centimeter and 24 centimeter. Okay. Adjacent sides of a rectangle are of length 7 centimeter and 24 centimeter. Find the length of its diagonal. Okay. Now here, remember students, whenever you read a question, see that what is given in the question, and second thing is what is asked in the question. Okay. What is given in the question and what is asked. These two things you need to understand when you read the question. Okay. So whenever the question is in front of you, you read the question once, twice, and understand it first. Okay, understand it, and then think over it. What or which property you are going to apply. Okay, and then start with your sum. Okay, so that comes the understanding, thinking, and the application part. So here, adjacent sides of a rectangle. Now, first of all, rectangle. That means which quadrilateral or which parallelogram is mentioned over here? Rectangle. Okay. So if you will think over it, what were the properties of the rectangle? As the opposite sides are congruent, all the angles are congruent, then diagonals of a rectangle they bisect each other. Okay. So this is the property which we have seen. Okay, so your adjacent sides of a rectangle are of length 7 and 24 centimeters. Now this is a common sense that rectangle, the length is bigger than the breadth. Okay, now many students they get confused teacher how to identify the length and the breadth. I would means the students who ever ask me, I would tell them that length, L for length, okay, L for length and L for the longest side. Okay, so if you are getting confused that if measure of the two sides is given and how to identify which is the length and which is the breadth, then I would suggest that remember always that L for length and L for long. Okay, so here the longest side is the length. Okay, the longest side will be the length. So here the longest, the longest or the biggest side is for the 24. So this will be the length. But in rectangle, in a rectangle, the longest side, that is the length, is 24 centimeter, and the shortest side is the breadth, that is the 7 centimeter. Okay, so in maths, especially in maths 2, that is the geometry part, students, it is very, very important that you need to draw the diagram. Now here in this question, diagram was not given, but after reading, understanding, think over it, and then draw the diagram. Okay, as per your imagination and as per the question. Imagination means what? Don't imagine and don't draw any diagram. Okay, don't imagine and don't draw any diagram. It should be related to the question. Okay, so your rectangle is asked. So your ABC is the rectangle. Okay, in this rectangle, AB is 24 centimeter and AB or DA is 7 centimeter. Okay, so find the length of its diagonal. Now rectangle, as I told you, that opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel. Pair of opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel and they are congruent. So if I say that AB, then AB or side AB is 24 centimeter, then side BC will also be what? 24 centimeter. Why? Because this is as per the property of the rectangle. Okay. Same way side BA is 7 centimeter, then this uh, sorry, then this side BC will also be what? 7 centimeter. Okay. So you have to write what is given, that is the length of the side, and AB and CD is equal to 24 centimeter and side BA and CD is equal to 7 centimeter. Okay, they are the adjacent sides. Adjacent side means what? The vertex is common. Now here you can see if I say BA and AB, these two sides, okay, these two sides, and vertex is common, that is the vertex A, or the angle A is common. So that is what the adjacent side. Okay. So find the length of the side. That means you have to find out the length of the diagonal A. Okay. So let us start. Let quadrilateral ABCD be a rectangle in which AB is equal to 24 centimeter and BC is equal to 7 centimeter. This is what I told you, that whenever you start any question, start from what is given in the question. Okay. So what is given in the question? That the quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle. Okay. In that rectangle, AB is equal to 24 centimeter and BC is equal to 7 centimeter. Now this AB and BC, they have not given over here. They have given only the length. Okay. So when you draw the diagram, here I have taken ABCD. You can take any name, QRS, XYZ, okay, any name, and as for that diagram which you will draw, you will write here the measurement. Okay. So here I have taken ABCD. So AB is my length and BA is my breadth. Okay. So here AB I have written 24 centimeter and BC is equal to 7 centimeter. Okay. So now what you will find out? Length of the diagonal. That is the length of the AC. Now students, you know that in a rectangle all the angles are what? 90 degrees. All the angles are what? 90 degrees. Okay, that is this angle B is 90, then angle A is also 90, the angle C is also 90, and angle B is also 90. Okay, so if I take the right angle triangle ABC, okay, any triangle you can take. You can take the triangle ABC also. Okay, so in right angle triangle ABC. Okay, here also angle B is also 90 degree. So if the angle is 90 degree, okay, right angle triangle, if you have the right angle with the triangle, you can apply Pythagoras theorem. And it is very, very simple. Okay, students, whenever you want to find out the length of the side and if the given triangle is a 90 degree, that is a right angle triangle, you can apply Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so in right angle triangle ABC, by Pythagoras theorem, what is the Pythagoras theorem? That is length of the hypotenuse. The square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the remaining two sides. Okay, so that is what AC square will be equal to the AB square plus BC square. Okay, so AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. Once you wrote this Pythagoras theorem, apply the substitute the values. So AB is what? 24. That is the 24 square. BC is what? 7. That is 7 square. Now 24 square is equal to what? 576. Now many students I know most of you because in last previous standard, that is in 8th standard, we have studied the square and square root, cube and cube root. Okay, square and square root, cube and cube root. So, but still, some students make the mistake that what they do, they 24 multiplied by 2. They multiply like this. Okay, they don't multiply 24 multiplied by 24 because it is square. What they do, 24 multiplied by 2. Same 7 multiplied by 2. Okay, but not like that. Here, whenever you are taking the square of some number or any number, you need to multiply the same number because square is what multiplying the number itself twice. Okay, multiplying the number itself twice. That is the 24 square is what 24 multiplied by 24. That is what 576. And 7 square is what 7 into 7, that is the 49. 7 is the 49. So here comes your answer 625. Now this 625 is what 80 square. Okay? 625 is what 80 square. But in diagram we have AB, BC, CD, DA. We don't have AB square, BC square, CD square, and DA square. Okay? So here 625. You need to take the square root. Okay, you need to take the square root. That is square root of 625 will come is what? 25. Okay, and if you have done already in your 8th standard class, how to find the square and how to get the square root of a particular number. Okay, so the AC will come as what? 25. Okay. So the diagonal of the rectangles are congruent. This is the property. The diagonal of the rectangles are congruent. On here, I have find out one diagonal, that is the AC, which is equal to 25. So the second diagonal, if I draw, that is the BD or BD will also be 25 centimeters. Okay, the diagonal of the angles are congruent. So BD is equal to AC is equal to 25. You don't need to find it twice. Okay, you don't need to find it twice. Once you got it one diagonal, you can say as per the property of the rectangle, that is the diagonal of the rectangle are congruent. You can directly write BD is equal to AC is equal to 25. Okay, but students, here you need to write the reason. You need to write the reason. Directly, you can't write BD is equal to AC is equal to 20. Okay, so the teacher who is checking your paper will not come to know. She knows the answer, but she must then she will think that you must have copied. Okay, you must have copied. So you need to write the reason from where you got this answer. So BD is equal to AC is equal to 25. Okay, and the final answer, as I told you, that each and every question you need to write the final answer. Okay. So the length of the diagonals are 25 centimeters each. This gives the 25 centimeters each. Is this clear? So I think that I have taken this one example, which is based on property of rectangle. Okay, each and every minute thing I have explained. So I think that if any question comes, you will be able to solve and there will be no difference. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, now the second example you can see here on your screen. It is based on square. Okay, it is based on square. Now, here I have taken the example of the side, the measure of the side. If the question comes regarding the angle, okay, regarding the angle, then also the property that regarding the angle, that is all the angles of a rectangle or all the angles of a square are congruent. That property is you can use and you can solve the sum. Okay. because right now it is not possible to take the example on each and every property and each and every parallelogram. Okay, so whatever the important property which can be whole the particular term, that term we can discuss over here. Okay, so let's start with the second sum. What is the second sum? The length of a diagonal of a square is 14 centimeter. Find the length of each side. Okay, here you can, if you read the question carefully here it is mentioned that it is a square. Okay, so immediately in your mind all the properties of the square should come. What are the properties? That all the sides of the square are congruent, all the angles of the square are congruent, and the diagonals are congruent. Okay, the diagonals are congruent and they are perpendicular bisector of each other. Okay, so once you remember all these three properties, any question regarding the square round, you will able to solve. Okay, so let's see. Length of the diagonal of a square is 30. Find the length of each side. Okay. Now here they have given the length of the diagonal. In the previous example, they have given the length of the side and we have got the length of the diagonal. Here they have given the length of the diagonal and we need to find the length of the each side. Okay. So here you know that square, all the sides are equal. So no need to find the measure of all the four sides. Okay. No need to find measure of all the four sides. If you find able to find out the length of one side, then you can say that all the sides of a square are congruent. By this property, we can say that AB is equal to BC is equal to CD is equal to DA equals to whatever answer you get. Okay, so this way, if you remember or if you are able to recollect the properties, you will be able to solve the sum regarding any type of parallelogram which is asked. Okay, so let's start. Now, here also diagram was not given. So as per your imagination or as you like the naming of the parallelogram, you can name. You also have to A, B, C, D. Okay, so let quadrilateral ABCD be a square. Okay, because it is given square. So we have to write that the let quadrilateral ABCD be a square in which diagonal AB is equal to 13 centimeters. Now this is the diagonal. Okay, so if you are taking the PQRS, and as per the name of a diagonal should be there. Okay, as per the name of the diagonal should be there, because many students what they do, the teacher ने वो पढ़ाया था तो उसमें diagonal AC था. Okay, so same they copy paste. Don't do that. Okay, whatever diagram, whatever naming you are doing, as per that naming only you need to write the steps. So your diagonal AC is there, so AC is equal to 14 centimeters. Okay, now we have to find out length of each step. So as I told you that if you see a right angle triangle, you can apply what? Pythagoras theorem. Okay, you can apply what? Pythagoras theorem. So here, what we will do in let AB equal to BC is equal to X centimeter. Now AB equal to BC is equal to X centimeter. Why I have taken AB equal to BC? Because where all the four sides are equal. So you don't know the for applying the Pythagoras theorem, we have the hypotenuse, length of the hypotenuse, and remaining two sides we don't know. Okay, but since the given parallelogram is a square, we can assume it as x. Okay, if it is a rectangle, we cannot take x because rectangle opposite sides are congruent. Not all sides are congruent. Okay, but here if it is a square, we can take this AB as x and this is also x. Okay, so AB sorry, in right angle triangle ABC by Pythagoras theorem, AC square equals to AB square plus BC square. Now AC is nothing but the hypotenuse equal to AB square plus BC square. Okay, so substitute the value. Now your diagonal is given. So the diagonal is given, that is the 30 square equal to AB. AB and BC we have assumed as X because we have to find out. Okay, because we have to find out. So AB is what X, the whole square plus BC is also X, that is the X square. Okay, so your 13 square. 13 square is what? 169 is equal to X square plus X square. Okay, X square plus X square. Now again here also the variables are same. The variables are same. So you can add and you can subtract. Okay, if the variables are same, you can add and you can subtract. If the variables are not same, you will not add and you will not subtract. Okay, so x square plus x square is the same as 1x square plus 1x square. So it comes to be 2x square. Okay, so 2x square equals to 169. Sorry. So again 2x square is equal to 169, which is an equation one variable. It is an equation with one variable. Students, here also we are relating with our maths 1. That is the equation in one variable. Algebraic equation. Okay. So x square is equal to 169 upon 2. Taking the square root because we don't want x square. We want the measure as what? X, and that's what we have assumed. Okay. And that's what we have assumed. That is AB is equal to BC is equal to X. So here it is X square. And so what we will do, we will take the square root on both the sides. Okay. We take the square root on both the sides. Now X square will become what? X. Okay. Of X square. And 169, you know that it is a perfect square of 30. Okay. Now 2. 2 is not a perfect square. Okay. 2 is not a perfect square. So you will write as it is, that is the root 2. Okay. So x is equal to 13 upon root 2. Now, again students, x is equal to 13 upon root 2. Now this is the third. Okay. This is the third. That is the third chapter of your maths 1, current in your 9th standard. Okay. So x is equal to 13 upon root 2. Here you have to rationalize the third. Okay. Rationalize the third. Root 2 multiply. So same thing will be multiplied in the numerator as well as in the denominator. Okay. So what it will be? 13 root 2 upon root 2 multiplied by root 2. Now root 2 multiplied by root 2. Any number which is multiplied in a root, that is the root 2 into root 2 will give you what? Root 4. Okay. Root 2 multiplied by root 2. What it will be? 2 multiplied by 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 is what? That is 4. Okay, that is what? 4. And 4 is a perfect square. 4 is the perfect square of what? 2. Okay. So here comes 2 multiplied by root 2 comes 2. How it comes? As solved. Okay. So in the numerator it will be 14 multiplied by root 2. So it will be what? 14 root. Here you cannot say that 14 2 are 26. Okay. 26 root 26 because 13 is a whole number and root 2 is a third. Okay. So it will be 14 root 2 and the numerator, sorry, the denominator it will be 2. Okay. So that is the final answer. You don't need to do anything for that further. Okay, you don't need to do anything further for that answer. So the final answer will be what? The length of each side of a square is 14.2 centimeters. Okay, we have got the length of one side. Okay, length of one side, remaining side, the measure of the remaining side will always be same. The measure of remaining all the sides will also be same because in the square all the sides are common. Okay, so in this case, if you know the properties of parallelogram and rectangle, rhombus, square. If you are aware, if you are well versed with the properties, then any type of question comes, you will be able to solve. Okay, but don't forget, students, that in each and every question, you need to draw the diagram and label it properly. Okay, you need to draw the diagram and label it properly as per the conditions given in the question. Okay, and the next thing is what? Start your solution, start your proof with what is given in the question. Okay, with what is given in the question. Then write the units properly. If the units is centimeter, write centimeter. If units are not given in the question, if the units are not given in the question, then simply you can write down that is 13 root 2 upon 2 units. Okay, 13 root 2 upon 2 units. If it is not given, if it is given, then you have to write the units. Wherever you are using the properties, you need to mention the properties, okay, so that the teacher who is checking the paper will be able to understand that the student is well versed with the concept. Okay, and the last and the least, that is each and every question you have to write the final answer. Okay, whether it is 1 mark question, except the multiple choice. Okay, except the multiple choice. Whether it is 1 mark question, 2 mark question, or 4, 5 marks. You have to write the final. Okay, if you present in this way, diagram, labeling, substitution, reason, and the final answer, remember that you score out of marks. Not the maximum marks I will say, but you score out of marks with math. Because math is a subject in which the students score out of marks in not even only in the school but as well as in the board exam. Okay, no other subject can in that they can score out of, but in maths you are presentable, if you are systematic, if you are accurate, okay, you can score out of marks in maths. Okay, so this is what we will, what we have studied today. I think the time is less, so I will not start with the next topic. But whenever next lecture of Maths 2, that time we will do the last topic of our quadrilateral. And I hope that by the sentence you have noted down all the points and all the examples in your notebook. Okay, thank you.